Good morning. Today we are starting with Unit 10 Ecology, Chapter 13 Organisms and Populations. Diversity is not a characteristic of living organisms, but also of content in biology textbooks. Biology is presented either as botany, zoology, or microbiology, or as classical and modern. The latter is an euphemism for molecular aspects of biology. Luckily, we have many threads which weave the different areas of biological information into a unifying principle. Ecology is one such thread which gives us a holistic perspective to biology. The essence of biological understanding is to know how organisms, while remaining an individual, interact with other organisms and physical habitats as a group and hence behave like organized wholes, that is, population, community, ecosystem, or even as the whole biosphere. So, ecology explains to us all this, and a particular aspect of this is the study of anthropogenic environmental degradation and the socio-political issues it has raised. So, this unit describes as well as takes a critical view of these aspects. Ramdev Mishra is revered as the father of ecology in India. Born on 26 August 1908, Ramdev Mishra obtained a PhD in ecology in 1937 under Professor W.H. Pearsall, FRS, from Leeds University in UK. He established teaching and research in ecology of the Department of Botany of the Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi. His research laid the foundations for understanding of tropical communities and their succession, environmental responses of plant populations and productivity, and nutrient cycling in tropical forests and grassland ecosystem. Mishra formulated the first postgraduate course in ecology in India. Over 15 scholars obtained PhD degree under his supervision and moved on to other universities and research institutes to initiate ecology teaching and research across the country. He was honored with the fellowships of the Indian National Science Academy and World Academy of Arts and Science and the prestigious Sanjay Gandhi Award in Environment and Ecology. Due to his efforts, the Government of India established the National Committee for Environmental Planning and Coordination in 1972, which in later years proved the way for the establishment of the Ministry of Environment and Forests in 1984. So we have many threads which weave the different areas of biological information into a unifying principle, and ecology is one such thread which gives us a holistic perspective of biology. So in chapter 13, we'll be discussing about organisms, populations, and various aspects related to that. Now, topics to be covered in this chapter are organisms and its environment, abiotic factors, response to abiotic factors, adaptations, populations, population growth, life history variations, and population interactions. Now, our living world is fascinatingly diverse and amazingly complex. We can try to understand its complexity by investigating processes at various levels of biological organizations like macromolecules, cells, tissues, organs, individual organisms, populations, communities, ecosystems, etc. Now, here at the level of biological organization, we can ask two types of questions. For example, when we hear the bulbul singing early morning in the garden, we may ask, how does the bird sing? This how type questions seek the mechanism behind the process, while the why type questions, why does the bird sing, seek the significance of the process. So for the first question is in our example, the answer might be in the terms of the operation of the voice box and the vibrating bone in the bird. Whereas for the second question, why does the bird sing, The answer may be in the bird's need to communicate with the mate during the breeding season. And when you observe nature around you with a scientific frame of mind, you will certainly come up with many interesting questions of the types: why are night blooming flowers generally white? And how does the bee know which flower has nectar? And why does cactus have so many thorns? And how does the chick recognize her own mother? And so on. So there are so many questions which may come to our mind. So we have already learnt in previous classes that ecology is a subject which studies the interaction among organisms and between the organisms and its physical or abiotic environment. So ecology is basically concerned with the 4 levels of biological organization: organisms, populations, communities, and biomes. Now, in the organism and its environment, we study about ecology at the organismic level is essentially a physiological ecology which tries to understand how different organisms are adapted to their environments in terms of not only survival but also reproduction. So we have learned in earlier classes how the rotation of our planet around the sun and the tilt of its axis causes annual variations in the intensity and duration of temperature, resulting in distinct seasons. Now these variations, together with the annual variation in precipitation includes both rain and snow, and this accounts for the formation of major biomes such as desert, rainforest, and tundras. Now, regional and local variations within each biome lead to the formation of a wide variety of habitats. Now, major biomes of India, I'll be showing you in a picture in the next slide. On planet Earth, life exists not only in a few favorable habitats but even in extreme and harsh habitats in scorching Rajasthan desert, in rain-soaked Meghalaya forest, in deep ocean trenches, torrential streams, permafrost polar regions, high mountain tops, boiling thermal springs, and stinking compost pits. So even our intestine is a unique habitat for hundreds of species of microbes. So what are the key elements that lead to so much variation in the physical and chemical conditions of different habitats? The important ones are the temperature, water, light, soil, and we must remember that the physico-chemical components or the abiotic components alone do not characterize the habitat of an organism completely. The habitat includes biotic components also, like pathogens, parasites, predators, and competitors of the organisms with which they interact constantly. So we assume that over a period of time the organism had, through natural selection, evolved adaptations, and these adaptations are to optimize its survival and reproduction in its habitat. Now each organism has an invariably defined range of conditions where it can tolerate, diversity of the resources it utilizes, and a distinct functional role in the ecological system, and all these together comprise its niche. So here you can see in this picture the biome distribution with respect to the annual temperature and precipitation. Here we can see the mean annual temperature in terms of Celsius, and here the mean annual precipitation in terms of centimeters. So here we can find the desert areas, grassland areas, tropical forest, temperate forest, coniferous forest, and Arctic and alpine tundras. Now these are the major biomes of India. These are tropical rainforest, deciduous forest, deserts, and sea coasts. So major biomes of India, they are divided into these 4 types. Thank you.